You're listening to the Dental Patient Pipeline podcast, the show designed to help dentists like you attract more patients, grow your clinic, and build a thriving practice. Hosted by Mark Vernam, a leading expert in dental marketing, this podcast brings you proven strategies, real-world success stories, and no-fluff insights to turn clicks into booked appointments and prospects into loyal patients. If you're looking to grow your clinic to the next level, you're in the right place. Now, here's your host, Mark Vernam.
Hi, I'm Mark Vernam and welcome to this edition of the Dental Patient Pipeline podcast. Today, we're diving into a topic that's absolutely crucial when it comes to growing your clinic, your website. Look, your website isn't just an online business card, it's the backbone of your entire digital marketing strategy. In my experience, most clinic websites, they honestly fail at their primary purpose. And that isn't just to look pretty, right? It's to convert visitors into inquiries and eventually paying patients. So let's break this down. Why do so many websites fall short? And more importantly, how can a few key tweaks make all the difference? First off, let's shift your mindset. Your website should be seen as an active participant in your marketing effort, not a passive tool. Every visitor should be guided toward one clear goal, and that's booking an appointment. Anything else is just noise, to be honest. And here's where things often go wrong. Clinic owners tend to overload their sites with too much information, or they don't provide a clear path for visitors. A lack of focus only leads to confusion, and as a result, visitors leave without taking any action. That's where the idea of a website funnel comes in. Think of it as a journey. You're not just throwing information in front of someone, you're guiding them step by step toward making that decision to book. Now, to see if your website is doing its job, you've got to look at the numbers. Key metrics like conversion rate, bounce rate, and time on page give you a clear picture of what's working and what's not. For example, if a lot of people are leaving your homepage after just a few seconds, that's a pretty big red flag. It's like having a shop where nobody walks past the front door. Tracking these numbers isn't optional. It's essential if you want to make data-driven improvements. And these tweaks don't have to be complicated or expensive. Often the smallest changes, like simplifying your call to action or making your contact form more prominent, can yield massive results. So let's talk about your homepage. It's the gateway to your clinic, and first impressions really do count, right? Visitors decide whether to stay or leave your site in just a few seconds. That's where something called the 5-second test comes in. Basically, you've got 5 seconds to answer this question for your visitor. Am I in the right place? If they can't instantly see the value you offer, they're gone, just like that. One way to nail this is with a clear benefit-driven headline. You don't want to go with something generic like "Welcome to XYZ Dental." Instead, try something that immediately highlights what you can do for them, like achieve a brighter, healthier smile in just one visit. It's got to speak to what your patient is looking for quickly and directly. Next up, calls to action. Look, your booking buttons, your phone number, whatever you want your visitors to do, it all needs to be above the fold. That means it has to be visible without scrolling. The easier you make it for someone to take that next step, the more likely they are to actually do it. And here's a big one: social proof. People trust people, not just businesses. So show off those glowing patient testimonials. Got some killer before and after photos. Use them. Display Google reviews, professional accreditations, anything that builds trust right away. I mean, it's basic psychology. People want to see that others have had a good experience before they commit to anything. Now, let's talk speed and mobile optimization, because this is where a lot of websites fall flat. If your site is slow to load, or worse, if it's frustrating to use on a smartphone, visitors will bounce. And that means lost patience. Here's the thing. Tools like Google Page Speed Insights can help you pinpoint exactly what's slowing your site down, whether it's oversized images, bad hosting, or, too much clutter. Fixing these issues is critical, especially as more and more patients are coming from mobile devices. Now, let's talk about landing pages, specifically why every service you offer needs its own dedicated page. a generic services page isn't enough anymore, it just doesn't perform as well. For example, instead of lumping everything like implants, Invisalign, and whitening onto one page, you create a separate page for each. Why? Because these targeted pages, when done right, speak directly to what your potential patient is looking for. That focus increases your chances of conversion dramatically. And a big part of that is the headline. Like, your headline is the first thing people see, and it has to immediately grab their attention. Something like, "Missing teeth, discover the most natural looking dental implants available in city," works because it's speaking directly to the patient's need or problem and offering a solution. Pair that with a strong subheadline and you've got a recipe for encouraging engagement. But it's not just about convincing them with words. Trust factors are crucial. Think about it. If someone's hesitant, what's going to nudge them over the edge? Things like patient success stories or before and after images can really help. You're showing potential patients what they can achieve by coming to you. And another one, transparent pricing info. You'd be surprised how often that's missing from clinic landing pages. It builds confidence, giving visitors clarity instead of leaving them guessing. Now, another strategy to increase conversions is creating urgency through limited time offers. People respond to incentives like free consultations or discounted rates for booking within a certain time frame. It's basic human psychology, right? We're wired to act faster when there's a ticking clock. Finally, placement. Where you put appointment booking forms matters. They should be visible and ideally above the fold, meaning visitors don't have to scroll to find them, and make sure it's simple. Nobody's going to fill out a form that's overly complicated or frustrating to use. Accessibility and ease of use are non-negotiable here. All right, let's get into a critical piece of the puzzle, booking appointments online. Now, there's a simple 3-step formula I like to use: visibility, simplicity, and confirmation. If you can nail those 3, you're already ahead of the game. Visibility means your booking options need to be obvious, front and center, not buried somewhere where patients have to dig around to find them. Simplicity is key here. The more complicated or lengthy your booking form is, the more likely people are to abandon it. Honestly, ask yourself, do you really need that much information up front? The fewer fields there are to fill out, the more likely it is that someone will hit submit. Think about it. Patients are busy, and if booking an appointment feels like a chore, they might just give up entirely. Now, let's talk about step 3, confirmation. Once someone books, you've got to make sure they show up, right? That's where automated follow-ups come into play. Tools that send text messages or email reminders can make a huge difference. And these don't need to be fancy, just a quick, "Hey, we're looking forward to seeing you," can reduce no-show rates significantly. It's a small touch that works wonders. Another game changer, live chat and click-to-call features. Think about it, some patients might have questions or concerns before booking. If they can quickly chat with your team or call directly by clicking a button, it removes that hesitation. It's convenience, and convenience converts. And let me throw this one out there. When was the last time you tested your own booking process? Seriously, secret shop your site. Pretend you're a patient and go through the steps. You'd be surprised at how many roadblocks you might find. Confusing instructions, error messages, even just things that feel clunky. Fixing those small issues can make a massive difference in how smoothly the process flows for your potential patients. Okay, so let's dig into the strategies for turning website visitors into leads, even when they're not quite ready to book an appointment. And trust me, this happens more often than you think. A visitor hits your site, they browse around, and then, for whatever reason, they leave without taking any action. But here's the good news. You don't have to lose them for good. Let's start with lead magnets. These are things you offer in exchange for a visitor's email address, something like a free guide, a quick quiz, or even a small discount. They've got to feel, well, irresistible. For example, a guide titled "How to Choose the Perfect Invisalign Provider" or "Top 10 Questions Answered About Botox" can really hit the mark. The key is to make it super relevant and valuable to your target patient. And once you've got their email, you can start nurturing that lead through follow-up emails. But we'll get to that in a sec. Now, have you heard of exit intent pop-ups? These are the little windows that pop up right before someone leaves your site. They're like a last call to capture visitor info. For instance, you could say something like, "Wait, don't leave without grabbing your free consultation voucher," or "Get 10% off your first visit by booking now." These can be incredibly effective when you pair them with the right messaging. Then there's retargeting. This is when you use Facebook or Google Ads to bring back visitors who've already been to your site but didn't take action. Ever notice how you'll visit a website and then their ads seem to follow you everywhere online? That's retargeting. And it works because you're staying top of mind with people who've already shown interest. You're basically giving them a little nudge to come back to your site and take the next step. All right, now let's circle back to those emails. Once you've captured a lead, you've got to nurture them, right? Automated email sequences can do the heavy lifting here. Start with a welcome email thanking them for signing up, then follow up with value-packed messages like tips, patient success stories, or even exclusive offers to book an appointment. It's not about bombarding them, though. It's about staying in their inbox often enough to build trust, but not so much they hit the unsubscribe button. And finally, let's not forget about patient loyalty and referral programs. Think of this as another layer to your strategy. When someone visits your website, you can incentivize them to refer family or friends with, say, a discount or a free service. Programs like these not only help with lead generation, but also create a sense of community, and that's massive when it comes to patient retention. All right, let's dig into the nitty-gritty of making sure your website is actually doing its job, because here's the thing, it's not enough to just have a website, you've got to know if it's effective. That starts with understanding metrics like bounce rate, conversion rate, and traffic sources. Bounce rate, for example, tells you how many visitors leave after viewing just one page. If that number's high, it usually means something's not clicking with your audience. It could be slow load times, irrelevant content, or even just bad design. Conversion rate, on the other hand, shows how many people are taking the action you want, like booking an appointment or filling out a contact form. And traffic sources. They help you figure out where people are finding you, Google, social media, or somewhere else. These numbers, they're not just data points, they're like a roadmap showing what's working and what's not. Now let's talk about A/B testing. This is one of the simplest yet most effective tools for boosting conversions. What you do is test two versions of something, like a headline, call to action, or even the layout of a page, and see which one performs better. For instance, you might try book your appointment today versus schedule your consultation now to see which gets more clicks. The key here is, you're not guessing, you're making decisions based on real results. Another area where a lot of websites stumble is the basics. Things like slow load times, confusing navigation, or missing trust factors like reviews and contact info. These may seem simple, but they can be the difference between someone staying on your site or leaving. A slow website? Forget it. People won't stick around. Confusing navigation? They'll get frustrated and leave. And if they can't immediately see that you're a credible, trustworthy option, they won't even consider booking with you. Here's a tip that's kind of like your secret weapon: heat maps. These show you exactly where people are clicking on your site and where they're not. It's like getting a behind-the-scenes look at how visitors are interacting with your content. Maybe your booking button isn't getting the attention you hoped, or maybe people are spending way too long scrolling to find what they need. Heat maps help you spot those issues so you can fix them. And lastly, don't think of website optimization as a one-and-done deal. The top clinics, they don't stop tweaking. They're always looking for ways to improve. That might mean testing new call-to-action buttons, updating outdated content, or even redesigning a page entirely if it's not performing. The goal is always the same: to get the best return on your investment. So as we wrap things up today, let me leave you with a few key takeaways that will help your website become, well, your clinic's most powerful revenue driver. First off, take a hard look at your website. Does it guide visitors toward booking an appointment? And are those calls to action crystal clear? If they're not, you're leaving money on the table. Next, think about distractions. Are there elements on your site dragging attention away from your main goal? If something isn't helping convert visitors into patients, it's got to go. And dedicated landing pages, those are non-negotiables for high-value services like implants or Invisalign. They aren't just pages, they're tools to focus attention, build trust, and boost conversions. Now, automation. If you haven't already, set up systems to capture leads and follow up with them automatically. You can't manually chase every visitor who clicks on your site, right? Automation does that heavy lifting for you. It's about making sure that every potential patient gets the nudge they need, even if you're not sitting there doing it yourself. And don't forget, this process, it's ongoing. Regularly track what's working on your website, what's not, and never stop testing or improving. Your bounce rates, conversion rates, even heat maps, they'll all tell you a story about how well your site's performing. Use them to guide your next move. At the end of the day, your website can and should be more than just a digital placeholder. It's got the potential to become the primary engine driving your business forward. By following these strategies, by being intentional about every detail, you're setting yourself up for real, measurable success. And that's what we're here for, isn't it? All right, that's it from me for now. Thanks for tuning in to this episode of Scaling Clinic. Take what you've learned today and start making changes that'll transform how you turn visitors into loyal patients. Until next time, keep pushing forward and I'll catch you soon.